Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode on Powerful on Purpose. And this is yet another edition of Wake Up Revolution. We're talking to another one of the authors in that book. So if you want to know more about Corry, check out the book. But today, my guest is Corry Lang. And she has been with us multiple times. She's an iridologist and I'm going to get this part wrong. She specializes in detoxing, helping you get more in line with your body, healthier, so you can be more creative, powerful. Because we talk really about supporting women, empowering women on their missions, building businesses, and how we turn that empowerment into changing the world. Let's face it, that's our mission here on this podcast. Let's change the world. So welcome, Corry, and you can give us the correct terminology for that.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I'm so happy to be here again with you. It's always fun to talk to you. And we always make the world a better place together. And it's really the goal here. So I am a certified naturopathic practitioner, regenerative detoxification specialist, and iridologist. And I work mainly with women with chronic or inflammatory autoimmune issues or mystery illnesses through nutritional therapy and herbal medicine. So
Right.
that's my vehicle, and I'm very happy to be here.
It's always a delight to have you in my world or me to be in yours. So give us the backstory about why you built a business around those things. Obviously, they're important, but also know that you have a personal story that led you down that trail. And then you saw, ooh, I can help more people by doing what I'm doing.
Yes, thank you. Because I'm so passionate about this, I have to rein myself in a little bit because I'm jumping up and down here on my seat. In a nutshell, my background is science. I worked in scientific research institutes. I studied biology in Germany and worked in institutes in Germany and in the US, mainly cancer research, neurobiology, proteomics, those kind of things. I had a PhD project in proteomics. That was the last thing I did in science. And then I decided to leave science because even though I still love it and it's always so interesting, but I felt like we need to do things differently. We need to prevent disease. We need to figure out how we can help the body before we even get sick. Because once we're sick, to blast the body with toxic chemicals can't be it. And I know nature has so much to offer for us. I mean, there's plants and things that can heal us or support us before we even get sick. And so I started studying nutrition. I became a yoga teacher, a life coach, and I wanted to work mainly on the emotional health levels because with every chronic illness, there's also a stress component and emotional unwellness. And so I wanted to dive into that, but then I got sick and I had lupus and fibromyalgia symptoms. And to the degree that I couldn't walk anymore, I was in so much pain. I had so much brain fog to the point of dementia and chronic fatigue. I had rashes and pain all over my body and really horrible symptoms. And I couldn't walk or work at some point anymore. And doctors would always say, there's nothing wrong with me. The blood work is always normal. And I was like, that can't be right because I know I'm sick. There's something wrong. And they would tell me that I'm overreacting or it's hormonal or I'm just a woman or stuff like that. Like they were kind of degrading or derogatory to me as well. Dismissive is the word. And then at some point when I couldn't work and walk anymore, I really didn't know what else to do. I had been to doctors for years and I thought about basically ending my life because I couldn't live like this. It wasn't sustainable and I didn't have any more money left. And then I felt, this is the spiritual aspect of it. I felt a presence in my living room while I was sitting on the living room floor and contemplating what to do. And this presence said to me, why don't we just heal it? And I was like, do you know how to heal it? In that case, let's heal it, of course, So, and then this presence said, well, you have to dig a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'm going to dig. So I went to PubMed and I read medical research papers on my symptoms. And I really went into the research and I still have access to the library because of my science background. And I found out that my symptoms had been known since at least the 1960s, but nothing had been done about them. I mean, the research is there, the science people know about it, but the industry has not followed up or done anything. They've come out with tons of nice pharmaceutical medications, but nothing to actually help us heal. And so I found one paper that told me that I probably have a virus that caused all these symptoms. So I went to the doctors with my paper in hand and said, here, read this paper. I think I have a virus. They actually made fun of me. They were like, oh, we were on the internet. Are we a doctor now? Haha, stupid woman. And I was furious. I was like, wow, you don't get to talk to me that way. I am your client. I pay you. You work for me. Let's not forget that. And I literally yelled at them, honestly. I was screaming because I was so tired and in so much pain, and I didn't need that attitude. And then after some screaming, they actually agreed to do the test. They didn't even know what test. Like I had to write down for them what the test is called and how to do it and what titers are needed, what antibody titers and all that. So they ran the test, or they sent my blood to, run the test. And I did have the virus according to the test. And then they didn't know what to do with me. And I had to read the results to them too, because they couldn't even read the results. And I was like, wow, you guys are so behind. I mean, so then I took my test results and went back home and figured I need to, heal myself. And I studied and I researched, and it took me 9 months. And in the process, I became a regenerative detoxification specialist and iridologist. And what that means, this is a method based on naturopathy. And I studied naturopathy later, but for my own healing, the regenerative detoxification was what I started with. And that means we detoxify all the organs and tissues and cells from the things that make us sick. And then with nutrients, we help to rebuild the tissues so the organs can actually heal themselves and regenerate themselves. And then I was fine. And I haven't had symptoms since then. That was 7 years ago. And I studied this and was my own first client. And I swear by this method. And it makes so much sense because in nature, if you take away the things that make you sick and give yourself the building blocks you need to heal, then of course you can heal. We don't have to be sick. We just have to remove, the things that make us sick and help us regenerate. So that's my short story. And I figured I want to help other people. That's the other thing. I'm on a mission here. I really think that we need to change the industries. The industries want to make money. And I just read an article in a German newspaper, actually. That article was 20 years old. And I just moved back to Germany. So I had this old article in my stuff and I read it again 20 years ago already. This medical journalist guy, he figured that the industries really want us sick. There was a quote from a CEO from one of the bigger pharmaceutical companies, and he said, we want to turn every person into a patient. That was a direct quote. We want to turn every person into a patient. And the numbers of patients skyrocketed after that. So every town, the number of patients went up, statistically speaking. So people were overdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, procedures were done that were not necessary. In fact, it's like 65% of gallbladder surgeries are unnecessary. There's a whole list of things that are really unnecessary in high percentages. And that's what we're dealing with. So I feel we have so much work to do. We need to wake people up to the fact that we can heal with natural methods. So I'm trying to bridge the gap between science and natural healing methods and help transform the planet so we can take back our health, our body, our lives, and move forward together and create a better planet.
Right. Well, and I think you speak to something super important in the sense that it's going to be on us, right? The medical community. And I think there's plenty of good doctors. But I also think the knowledge has exploded and they can't know everything, right? We went down this trail of doctors looking at the whole person. Then we went to specialties. And I think we're going to have to come back to looking at the whole person again.
And I think doctors are great. I have friends who are doctors. I'm not bashing on the doctors. I think most doctors are actually frustrated with us. They're stuck in the same system that we're stuck in as patients. They want to change things, but they can't. They have to stay within their framework. And if they venture out of this, they can lose their license. So it's tough for them too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm guessing that moment when you couldn't walk and when you were sitting on the floor, right, and had an epiphany, intuition, whatever that was, I'm wondering, you must have still held on to hope and belief. Because even then you said at that point you were contemplating, what am I going to do? But you grabbed right onto that and said, okay, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, that made all the difference for me, was that little bit of hope that I got. So whether this was an actual divine being I think it was my angel, honestly, but could have been my higher consciousness or my higher self or something. But it was from a higher plane of existence for sure. But it said, why don't we just heal it? And I was like, wait, you know how to heal this? It is possible to heal this? Because doctors never told me that. They always said, what you have is incurable, or they just didn't know, all these mystery illnesses. Doctors say that a lot. There is no known cure for this. which doesn't mean there's no cure for this. It just means they don't know the cure, right? So when I got this little kernel of hope, that changed everything. And then I got really angry. I remember how I was sitting there on my floor and I was like, wow, is it really possible to heal this? Why is nobody telling me this? Why is nobody helping me to do this? Like, why aren't the doctors looking for the actual root causes here, right? And I was so mad because I also went to naturopathic doctors and integrative medicine doctors, not just standard classic doctors, Western medicine. So I went to a lot of specialists. I spent a lot of money on all this and couldn't find anybody who could tell me anything meaningful, really, like root causes or anything. So I got really angry. But then out of this, I got hope. Like I felt like, okay, I have there's a door opening for me. There's something I can do. I just need to find it. And I mean, the search part of this, the searching for this took a long time. So I'm glad I know now how to do it. And it's not that hard. It's not really rocket science, honestly, right? So
Great. And your yeah, and really what I'm hearing too is your mission is helping other women shortcut that 9 months that it took you to figure out your own circumstances. Because I think too, women, I'm sure you work with both men and women, but I think probably women are predominant in the sense of this, oh, it's hormones, it's you, it's your mind, you're making this up, you don't know your own body kind of stuff.
yeah. So I do work with both men and women, but I work mostly with women because mainly, for example, 85% of lupus patients are women. So it is, excuse me, there is a connection there between our nervous system and these chronic illness symptoms. And it is a nervous system disease, really, lupus and fibromyalgia. It's a virus that attacks the nervous system. And it's just more women than men who have that. And so that's why I focus on women to work, to work with women. I also believe after reading the book, Three Cups of Tea, I don't know if you've read that. It's a great book. I would recommend that. I learned that from the book. An American teacher who goes to Pakistan to build schools for girls. And right? Yeah.
Yes.
And what he finds out is that if you train girls, if you educate girls, they become mothers and they will educate their children, whether it's girls or boys. So far in most of these countries, it's only the boys that get an education. But if we educate the women, they will educate the whole community. And that's what I'm going for too, is like, let's educate the women and they will raise their children the same way. Like we can heal ourselves. We can listen to nature. We can listen to our innate healing powers that are in us already. We just have to listen to those. And I think women are also more intuitive. And that's why I focus on women. But I work with men occasionally as well. Yes.
Right. And I think we've gotten a sense of this, but really this idea of your lived experience shaping the way you're leading others in getting healthier.
And you said something about hope. So that's the most important thing, is that everybody knows, men and women, that there is hope and that we can heal ourselves and that it doesn't take a specialist to heal ourselves. We don't have to go to the highly specialized doctors with our symptoms. I mean, I would never tell anyone don't go to the doctor. Always go to the doctor and explain to them what you're doing, because it trains them too. We need them on our side. But we don't need a highly specialized doctor to help us with our chronic illness symptoms. We need to change our diet. We need to remove the toxins and the parasites and the heavy metals and the things that make us sick and the pathogens and their cofactors. And once we remove all these things that make us sick, and, there's also EMF, there's sensitivity to, electromagnetic frequencies. There's a lot of things that affect us as modern humans. And of course, the foods we eat. I mean, look at American foods. There's so many ingredients that we shouldn't be eating at all. So if we do all this, then we can heal ourselves. And this is huge, to just have hope that we can do it. And that's what I want to spread, is that hope.
Right, right. And I know one thing, and it's interesting you brought up Three Cups of Tea, because I read that years ago, but I just heard a woman speaking about natural health, and she said, and I don't know where she got this statistic, that right now the third highest cause of death in the US is from misdiagnosis and overprescriptions. Have you heard that statistic as well?
Yeah, that's been around for a long time. I thought it was more. I thought it was second cause of death, second highest cause of death. It's even using medication, correctly using prescribed medications also factors into that. So it's, oh my God, a lot of doctors don't even know how to prescribe medications. They use the wrong dosages or the wrong medications altogether. There's been studies on that. That is really scary. And honestly, oh my God, sorry, I'm getting all excited. When I lived in the US, and I lived in the US for 24 years, one time I had a little skin tag removed, and the doctor prescribed me three medications. And they were all, one was for schizophrenia, one was for anxiety and something, and then I don't know. So all three, and one was, of course, an opiate. And I was like, why do I need that? I don't need these three super heavy medications. And he said, you're going to need those. You're going to have nerve pain. And then I got away with one Advil the whole time after the surgery. I took one Advil, never took anything else again. That's how little the pain was. And he tried to scare me into taking these super heavy, habit forming, addictive medications. And for schizophrenia, I mean, I would have probably become schizophrenic from that. Like, that is just overkill. And that's how a lot of my clients tell me their experiences, like for their symptoms, the medications they've received is just insane. I mean, it's definitely overprescribing. I mean, yeah, and misdiagnosing and all that. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. So what is a truth about women and power? And I think there's something related to health, right? When we talk about power that you believe more of us need to hear.
Well, I think that women should take their power back in any area of life. And when going to the doctors, not be afraid to ask a ton of questions and always ask the doctor, what would you do? What would you do for yourself or for your daughter or your wife? And most doctors wouldn't do half the procedures that are prescribed to us. Most doctors wouldn't do half the stuff that they try to put on us. And so that's a good question, like, what would you do?
Right.
And as women, we're still a little bit subdued, right? We still think that we're worth less than men because that's how we were raised. And then there's generational trauma. So we have programs running in our brain about like being worth less than men. So we need to stop all this. The patriarchy is over. Right? I mean, yeah, let's all, agree on that. The patriarchy is over. So it takes all of us to change the existing systems. And if we start to stand up and be direct and respectful and voice our opinions and not be afraid that we get punished, like every woman has that experience of, right, of being punished when we, right, voice our opinion. Yeah. So let's not be afraid of that anymore. We can also take self-defense classes. I would always recommend that to all women and girls. Take a self-defense class. Take some karate or something, because I did that when I was 18 and it really helped me change my self-confidence about myself. I mean, just be proactive. You take back your power. And as I said, be respectful when you're direct. Ask direct questions and help yourself. And don't let anybody tell you anymore what's so. Always research it. I mean, the internet is a scary place, to be honest. There's a lot of misinformation, but it's better to be prepared a little bit than not at all. So don't give your power away anymore to authorities, right? That's what I mean.
Right. Exactly. And I think too, it's finding others who have lived whatever experience we're going through and maybe have different ways of looking at it and managing it than the ways we're used to, right? Because certainly, yeah, when you're talking about being prescribed crazy stuff, I've always been over-prescribed things, right? Because of my size. And it's based on whatever average is. I don't know what that is. It's clearly not me. So yeah, gotten to the point where, yeah, I'm like, no, not taking that dose, right? Don't care. You're going to have to come up with an alternative or just not doing it. So yeah, I think that as well as then really searching for people who have alternative solutions because they're out there now, fortunately, right?
Yeah. And also be mindful that a lot of the alternative solutions haven't been tested well enough. And so that's why I like to bridge the gap between science and natural healing methods. I think both are useful and there's a middle way, right? So drinking hydrogen peroxide is not a good idea, okay? And I'm saying this because a friend of a friend is just doing that because he heard it on the internet. And stuff like that is actually dangerous. I mean, hydrogen peroxide can actually corrode the lining of your intestines and stuff. So, I mean, there may be some value to some of these products. This needs to be investigated and researched, and I'm all for it. I'm all for doing the research there. But let's just be cautious and mindful and not jump onto anything. Just do your own research, be smart, and find the middle ground somewhere. That's what I would recommend.
Right? Yeah, I love that advice. So what are you building now that is stretching you beyond your current comfort zone?
Heck, mama, I'm like...
And I know you just got your path. Sorry, couldn't get that word out. Vacation, or what is that technically called? Because that was huge, right? Probably pushed you out of your comfort zone.
Yes, it was so interesting too, and I love this stuff. This is something I can read and remember immediately. Like nothing else sticks to my brain like this because I'm just so interested in it. It's naturopathic practitioner. It's just naturopathy, so natural healing methods all across the board, and it's a lot. It was a lot of biochemistry actually, which didn't stick to my brain very much. Lots of organic chemistry and biochemistry, and it's all super interesting. I mean, it's about molecules in your body and how they interact and function, and of course, it's all good to know. I'm really interested in plants and herbal medicine and in natural healing methods in general, in energy healing, and but also I'm still very interested in science. But this stretched my comfort zone, just having to study for this, and the exam was hard, and I studied for, I don't know, a whole week just for the exam. And I mean, that's not even a lot, but I feel like it could learn so much more. There's so much more to learn. Yeah, right now I'm building my business. So I just moved back to Germany because my mom's here, she's getting old, and I wanted to get some European influences again after living in the US for 24 years. And I loved living there, but now I just needed something else. And I'm happy to be here. I can build my business from here because I work remotely. I can work anywhere. So I'm happy to spend time with family. And that is also stretching my comfort zone because being with family when you haven't been with them in a long time is can be tricky. Yeah, but I'm building my business. I do iridology and read people's irises remotely and all that. And it's just my my heart's blood. I guess that's how you can say it. I'm just so into it. I'm so passionate about all this and natural healing and emotional health and all that. Yeah.
Right, right. So if you could sit across from the woman you were before everything shifted, what would you tell her?
This is great. I actually never thought about this, but immediately I have an answer. So I would tell her, hey, don't be so scared. And you have everything you need. You got everything you need inside you. Listen to yourself, meditate more. I would definitely recommend meditate more and listen to yourself, to your inner self and your higher being. And don't be so scared and don't let anybody tell you what to do. And I think that's really something that we need to know. We have everything we need inside ourselves. We're born with that stuff. We're divine beings in a human body. We have everything we need and we have a direct connection to the higher realms. So if we need more information, we can just download that. We just need to meditate and be quiet, right?
Right. Oh, I love that advice. Absolutely. So, how can people step into working with you, find out more about you, come into your world?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way would be through my website. That's just corrylang.com, just my name, corrylang.com. And then I do offer free webinars once a month where I talk about what I do and how I healed myself and how others can start healing themselves as well. And I'm always happy to do free consults, and I have a free ebook on my website. And I think that would be the easiest. I have a YouTube channel. I am not that big on social media, to be honest, because it's just too distractive and there's so much misinformation on there. But I think my YouTube channel is probably the most accessible. And yeah, I think that's the easiest way to get in touch with me is the website, the webinar, or the YouTube channel.
Cool. And what would be one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's not sure even where to start, right? What's one simple way that they could start rethinking about their diet? And I'm thinking of one specific thing that you gave in a previous interview because I started doing this and I thought, oh my gosh, Corry's a genius. So we'll see if it's the same thing I'm thinking about.
What was it about the gorilla diet? Was it that?
It kind of was about the gorilla diet, but you said like eat the good stuff first, right? If you're craving something, I always keep little carrots in my fridge, right? And so yeah, I'll have a cravings for something. I'll like, I remember Corry, I'm gonna go eat 4 or 5 carrots, and if I still want whatever, then and not that I have particularly huge cravings, but every once in a while you do, right?
Yeah, definitely. I have little carrots, little cucumbers and things on my desk at all times because when I work and I need to chew on something, so I have little things of veggies on my desk. But I think the advice I gave you is, first of all, as humans, we're supposed to eat a certain diet and we're supposed to eat whatever our closest relatives in the wild would eat, which happen to be gorillas or, chimpanzees, so apes. From a biological standpoint, we are primates. We have the same genetic makeup, the same hands, teeth, intestinal organs as primates, as apes. And so when we follow apes around and see what they eat in the wild, in the tropical forest, it's a lot of fruits, leaves, which we could substitute with spinach or kale, veggies, sweet grasses, nuts and seeds, and then the occasional grasshopper or beetle or a small bird. or bird's eggs. And we're supposed to eat like that. Tons of veggies, tons of fruits. Only like 3% of our diet should be animal protein. And there's protein and amino acids in veggies as well. And glucose in fruit builds muscles too. So we have plenty of things that can build muscles and keep us healthy in nature. So that's what we're supposed to eat. And then I would recommend that you eat the healthy things first. As I told you, like all the veggies and the fruit, eat that first. And when you're full, you're not craving the crappy foods anymore. If you still have a craving, then by all means, go and get, something unhealthy to eat. But try to eat the healthy things first, and then you don't have such big cravings anymore. And yeah, I'm so glad this is working for you. And I'm glad you're thinking of me when you open your fridge and see your little baby carrots.
Yeah, exactly. I do. Well, as always, it's been a delight to have you here. And we could go on forever. Yes, well, thank you. And be sure and subscribe to Powerful on Purpose. And as well as check out the book, Wake Up Revolution. That'll be published soon. Because we're showcasing other amazing women like Corry, really, who are taking their passion, their expertise out in the world to make it a better place.